So welcome, Mark Ray, to our Advisory Board Insights. I really appreciate you taking the time out in a beautiful location, it looks like.
Yes, Sydney, Louise. So lovely to catch up with you guys as well.
Yeah, terrific. So thanks for taking this time. So I guess to start with, Mark, I'd love to hear more about if you can share your story.
Sure. Yeah, I've had a 30-year executive career. You know, do the few degrees as most people do. Knock out a science degree. Wonder what you do with that. Then knock out an accounting degree. And in the 80s, you had to have an accounting degree with a law degree. So you better knock out a law degree. So your father says you better go get a job. You've got more degrees than a thermometer. So so do that. And then had a wonderful career from groups like Wesfarmers that taught us a lot around the importance of strategy. So 7 years within that group is a really powerful time. And then a bit of overseas experience, which is always good to see how the world operates in Asia and America and the UK in those 90s when you've still got a chance to get away with and work. In the 1990s, I mean. And then some wonderful experiences in James Hardie. Came back there and had a lovely time at 7 years in that whole traumatic time of their business in resetting it. But the skills out of James Hardie, again, these big firms give you a lot of skills in regards to structure, process and discipline. You know, lots of projects, they have to be able to bring project management training, which they put you through in order to get projects done. So you might have a finance background, but they still expect projects to be done in a structured, disciplined way. And so that was wonderful. Then you've got some of that sort of experience, maybe 20 odd years in large corporates, you can then start to apply it to large food and agris. And that's where I went into the Steggles Group as their CFO and General Counsel, bringing those skills of setting the strategy, resetting businesses, but doing it in a structured, disciplined way. And had 5 years there and then applied it to another big group, the Craig Mostyn Group, another big family, $600 million turnover, ended up getting the CEO role there, but applying all those principles. So having had a wonderful executive career, embarked on the board career, that's always a start. You know, most of us are all saying, well, we've done this for 30 years. I might be getting in my late 50s or 60s. You can start your director career anytime you like. But in my case, I wanted to start it then and tentatively went out for 6 months and thought, oh, have I done the right thing without lining them up? And I used a combination of the advisory board method and the governance board method. And it's been quite successful, Louise.
Yeah. So it'd be great for you to share, you know, what's been your experience around advisory boards and what's that been like?
Well, I think the first step is you come out of big corporates and you think, I'm going to walk into an ASX 200. Well, that's not going to happen. You know, you're not going to get those sort of directorships straight up. And then you weigh them all up. There's a range of options. You've got not-for-profit, you've got advisory boards, you've got governance boards. And I found the advisory board method a great way to start it. I was getting lots of requests from friends to help out, you know, a whiskey business, you know, saying, well, I'll give you a bottle of whiskey if you help us out with our strategy and whatever that. And then they start to move into, you know, rewarding you. And so you embark on that. And then you might get a governance board role and slowly you chip away, but you need a combination of both. And advisory boards can be a bit of a hybrid between, you know, you don't want to consult, but you want to be an advisor on a monthly basis. So I found the advisory board a great way to start. And then I'm running the two, as I said, governance and advisory, and very successfully.
And what's been the, I guess, the benefits for the businesses that have had advisory boards to them? What's been the outcomes of that, Mark, that you've seen?
Well, I think in the experience-wise of mine, it's the broad experience. Some advisory boards want a dedicated advisor in a certain section. Others want advisors that can cover a range of sections. And that's usually around, in my case, strategy and governance, bringing some of the legal skills in as well, and being able to help them with a range of issues, but predominantly strategy. I find the businesses, if you say why are you doing that, you've got to go back to why, which comes out of strategy. And I think most of us advisors can drive the strategy quite well. You know, you've got to go back to that, you know, the basics that we've done in other groups. head back to your SWOT analysis, do your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats of the team. You lead it, and then drive your strategic issues, pull out your strategies, and then get that down to some initiatives that will drive the business along.
And why have they chosen an advisory board versus, other methods, Mark? What's been their motivation on that side?
Yeah, I think, well, the first step is, they don't generally want to go to a governance board. When I talk governance boards, this is probably the $100, $200 million space. You've got the other space between the startups, the 5 million capitalisations, the 10s, the 30s. There's still owner-operators generally. They don't want to embark on sharing all their financials sometimes. They want to keep that to themselves, and so therefore the advisory board gives you that mechanism. But they do want strategy. Every single one of them wants to get the strategic game happening. Yeah. And they need some help to get there.
Yeah, terrific. So with your experience in advisory boards for a long period of time, Mark, what would be your tips that you'd give business owners and the tips that you would give advisors?
Look, all mine, it's still around those classics. Sounds a bit cliche, but it's around innovation and strategy. It's amazing. Strategy is about structure and process. And when we say that, as I said before, going through that process, the number of owner-operators I know, we've got to get our strategy right because they get tied up in the day-to-day and they find they need an independent person to drive their strategy piece. So you've got to have agendas where you put strategy up there. Get rid of all the other stuff down, the operational stuff down the bottom of the agenda and get that strategy piece up there. And make sure the strategy as you drive it, they want to drive it out into marketing initiatives, operational initiatives, and fitness initiatives. So when I say marketing, sales and marketing, what strategic initiatives are you going to have to drive that area? What are you going to do about your cost of production or operational ones? And what about your fitness? Do you have the right people in the place? Is your safety fine? Is your quality fine? So break those areas up. And I think as advisors, you'll have a successful career and you'll bring a lot of value to the businesses.
Yeah, terrific. Mark, thank you for taking the time and sharing your story. And as you continue to work in this space, come and check into us and let's do another catch up because it's always great having that knowledge being shared by you.
Lovely, Louise. Lovely catching up.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Bye.